Hello, kindergarten. I am so happy that you are here tonight for my read aloud. I think tonight is going to be my favorite that I have done so far. So I know that if you are a kindergartner at Parkview, you know the story of the Three Little Pigs. I know that for sure. So tonight I'm going to be reading a story called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. You see, the Three Little Pigs story, it's written by the Three Little Pigs. So they told us what happened. But now the wolf is stepping forward and saying, hey, I saw things differently, so let me tell my story. And that makes sense. Sometimes when something happens, two people see it very differently. So this wolf is making sure that you guys know and that we hear what he thinks happened. So let's see how it's a little bit different than what the pigs say happened. So this is written by John Sieska and it's illustrated by Lane Smith. So let's see if it's the same as the Three Little Pigs or if he thinks things happened way different. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because no one has ever asked me. I'm the wolf. Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet? Hey, it's not my fault. Wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks probably wouldn't think you were big and bad too. But, like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. And there's a little chalkboard that he's pointing at that says sneeze plus sugar. This is the real story. So remember, we know from the Three Little Pigs that they all built a house made out of something different and a big bad wolf came and tried to blow their house down. And he's saying this is all about a sneeze and some sugar. Let's see what he means by that. Way back and once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. So he's doing something nice for Granny. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So he's going to ask him for some sugar, is what he's saying happened. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. It was made of straw. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, "Little pig, little pig, little pig, are you in?" No one answered. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar from my dear old granny's birthday cake, and that's when my nose started to itch, and I felt a sneeze coming on, and I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed a great sneeze. So in the other story, he said he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. He's saying, I just had to sneeze. And you know what? The whole house, the whole straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the stick house and nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, "Go away, Wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin." I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, so I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." I wonder why he said that. I wonder if he knows about his brothers. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sackful of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed again. Choo! And the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Doesn't sound like that pig feels very bad for him. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I start to go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. There he is in the newspaper for being a bad guy, breaking into houses and hurting pigs. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. And frame means like, they set you up. They made it look like you were the bad guy even though you weren't. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. The end. So what I want to know is, do you think that the story the 3 little pigs told was true? Or do you think that the story that the wolf told was true? Because he was just saying, hey, I just wanted to borrow some sugar, and I had a cold, and I was sneezing, and it really wasn't my fault. But the pigs told the story like he was huffing and puffing, and he was trying to break into their house. So, using that big brain of yours, what do you think happened? Do you think the pigs were telling the truth? Do you think that the wolf was telling the truth? Do you think they were both telling the truth, but they didn't maybe see each other's side? And do you think that you would give the wolf some sugar? Do you trust him or not? Let me know what you think. That's what I would like. Again, this is one of my very favorite stories. And takes a story that we all know and it changes it up just a little bit. So if you'd like to share what you think about it, I would absolutely love to hear it. I hope that you guys have a fabulous Tuesday night, that you guys have sweet dreams, and I know that I can't wait, and your other kindergarten teachers cannot wait to see you tomorrow for Wednesday and another day of learning. So sweet dreams, guys. Love you all.